What's up, everybody? I'm starting a 4-part series that actually will help you if you're looking to move to Costa Rica or if you just got to Costa Rica. And so on this series, it's called Changing the Chip. So a lot of times people want to move to Costa Rica, but they don't have a clear why, or they don't have the right expectations. And then even when they land, they still don't have a clear why or the right expectations. And it kind of gets in the way of their dream or their vision of Costa Rica. And so we're going to jump right into it with the first part of the series is understanding your why you're leaving. Let's get into it. So if you heard any of my videos, I am really big on why. I've even been called in the street the why guy. And this is very important when you're making your decisions to move to Costa Rica. Now, what I want to talk about and focus on is one particular why, is why you are leaving the United States. And this needs to be clear, because if you don't actually take this and you're just kind of sitting with feelings of uncomfortableness, maybe it's stress, then you really haven't analyzed, what the real problem is. So you're either going to bring that problem to Costa Rica, or when that problem goes away, you're gonna be like, oh, I just want to go back. And it's cool to go back, so I'm not saying it's not cool, but to go back just because you didn't have a clear why, honestly, is maybe a waste of money and maybe a waste of time. Wow! Very important to have clarity on your why you are leaving. And this clarity just can't be surface level. A lot of people say, oh, I'm leaving the United States because of stress. Well, the stress of what? Because if it's the stress of your job, maybe it's not moving to Costa Rica, it's moving and changing your different job, maybe changing your position and changing, maybe your lifestyle that's requiring you to have, this 6-figure job that, doesn't give you time with your family or even time to yourself. Part of a big question that generally is asked at expats, no matter where you go, what are you running from and what are you running to? Most people have a shallow understanding of what they're running from, but they don't actually dig into it. And honestly, they really don't have any idea what they're running to. If you watch my last video, I was saying, okay, I'm running from stress. And you saw me look in California, you saw me look in Atlanta, and I was looking all over the United States because I was just running from something, which means I could have ended up anywhere. And so I had to find out, what was my why to move to Costa Rica. So why is this important to analyze? The stress from your job, yes, you can move to a different job is another answer. Probably more simple than moving to a different country. It's important because if the one thing that's giving you stress is bothering you, but you got 9 other things that you love. Maybe you love being around your family all the time. Maybe you love to be around, a certain amount of friends, and you don't actually want to give that. You love the lifestyle that you have. You love the house. You love things that are, just staple in your life. You're not really willing to change. What happens is if you move to Costa Rica, it's a different country. You don't have those friends. Your friends are not accessible. Your family is at a distance. And yeah, they can, I talk about other solutions to this as inviting them, but they don't live with you. They're not there all the time. And you'll end up getting homesick for one thing because you're like, oh, well, there's no Thanksgiving here, unless you make it and bring your friends. But things are expensive for Thanksgiving because they know that only people from the United States are celebrating Thanksgiving. And so you have to analyze those type of things, because what if the simple solution was just getting a different job, or getting a different position, or changing your field? There's a lot of solutions before you just say, I'm uncomfortable, I'm upset with stress, and you move to Costa Rica thinking that it's going to be the single pill that solves all your problems. Now, I am oversimplifying because a lot of times the stress is just part of a layer. Many times it's, okay, you're watching the news, your father watched the news, his father watched the news, they read the newspaper, and so you're always getting negative information. So now when you go to work, you have a negative outlook. Oh, these people, those people, or this position. And so, yeah, maybe it's a different position, but also maybe it's turning off the telly. I always want to say that. Turn off the television. And so, that way that you're not actually, being bogged down by negativity. Because just being honest with you, there are a lot of people that I ran into here that honestly keep the television on, whether it's through the internet, and they're looking at the United States news, still getting frustrated and depressed or angry or feeling anxiety, and they're not even in the country anymore. And it's like, oh, we got, because they haven't stopped the habit. That's actually the root of the problem. Taking in negative stuff. I made a video before talking about, some things you just have to turn off. It could be the news, it could be certain friend groups. Because if you have 9 negative friends, you're bound to be the 10th one. And so you have to begin to change your perspective. Yeah, moving to the country could help, but if you're on the phone because you're like, I don't have any new friends, and I don't trust anybody, I'm not working on anybody, let me call my old negative friends and see what they're up to, then you're actually not fixing anything. You're still in the same bubble. And so you need to be able to change your bubble. Now, I will say that Costa Rica, for me, has been a very good perspective because it was a reset. But there were more things than, just the rest of my job, that I was able to deal with. And I was able to do some work inside of me. I was able to do some work inside of me that was actually able to change my outlook and perspective. No, my life is not perfect, and it will never be. And so I'm not telling you everything will be perfect. Everything will be perfect if you just do these things. But it actually gives you to a better perspective to see that, hey, okay, if I just make these couple of changes, I'm fine where I'm at. Or if I make these couple of changes, I still want to go to Costa Rica. And you'll be able to see which is which. The one thing that I do want to point out is Costa Rica is not the United States in Central America. And so what that means is a lot of people outside of stress are just looking for a change. But when they're thinking of change, they're thinking, okay, I love this part. I just don't want this. I don't like the president. I don't like the political positions. I don't like this. Okay, if I move to Costa Rica, I get everything else, and I don't have to deal with only those 3 things. That's the only thing that I want to change. But in reality, that's not what it is at all. Every country has its ups and downs. No matter where you're at in the world is not perfect. It has, disadvantages and it has its advantages. And Costa Rica is no different. And so you don't get to choose what changes. For example, the fact that if you just want those 3 changes, you're not considering that Costa Rica is a Spanish-speaking country. And so the best way to get into the culture, to meet more people, to see more non-touristic sites, try new foods, is actually to have friends and community with Ticos, or Costa Ricans, if you haven't seen any other video, Ticos. And so this is going to require you to be able to speak Spanish, which is a major change. I've seen many videos talking about, you'll be fluent in, a few months. No, honestly, you need to understand what fluency is. Fluency is, okay, I spoke some words in Spanish, you spoke some words, but I have no idea what you said. Now, I can say, I have no idea what you said in Spanish. Could you please explain? And guess what? They're not going to. There's no subtitles. They're going to explain it a different way in Spanish. And fluency says, okay, that's what it means. I understand. Not that you understand everything, not that you'll be able to get into every conversation, but time and practice, you're actually going to be able to get accustomed to this change. And over time, you'll start to develop friendships and relationships and pick up, how people talk. It's going to bring a lot of different experience that maybe you weren't even thinking of, but that is part of the change. And as long as you're ready and have the right idea that, hey, when I get to Costa Rica, I'm going to have to be able to change and to be flexible, if you will, so that I can actually be part of the community. Then you will actually begin to start to change that ship. So many people are looking for a change. And so I must caution these people, because if this is your reason for leaving because you're looking for a change, this is honestly a good reason. Honestly, stress is too, but I really want you to have a clear picture. But when you're looking for a change, realize that it's not just the changes that you want. It's not just the things that, I don't like this, I don't like that, we can leave that out. No, you don't actually get to design the picture. Costa Rica is Costa Rica. If someone was coming to the United States, you'd be like, well, this is nice, this is the way it is. Well, in Costa Rica, this is the way it is. There are some things that are beautiful. Yes, the environment's, the first thing that people see. My change is just going to be climate and a pool and maybe a beach and a volcano. Yeah, those things are great, but they're kind of superficial. The changes that you're going to have to make, includes the environment, but includes getting used to different cultures, driving, and you're going to have to learn to speak Spanish. Why, you say? Because what really keeps you in a place is your community. And if you don't have a good community filled with good people, good Ticos, and you can have expats, but I'm really pressing the fact to get around Ticos, because their experiences are going to lead you into new experiences. They're going to take you to the non-tourist spot. They're going to take you to the restaurant that is not the most expensive, because this is how they live. And honestly, they're probably going to invite you for a meal versus taking you to the restaurant, because mostly gringos, I don't actually like that word, but mostly people who are not of Costa Rica are going to the restaurants. Yes, Ticos do go to the restaurants, but it's not a common thing like we in the United States. We love every restaurant. Every week we're going to a restaurant. And so it's a different mindset. In order to get that, you really need to understand, really, is this what you're looking for when you're leaving? Because the why of change, remember, it doesn't mean that you get to choose what changes. A lot of different things change. And it is good as long as you're flexible, and you don't just say, your common phrase is, well, this is the way that it works in the United States. This is not the United States. And so you have to really, be able to understand that as you're, understanding your why or why you're leaving. If my why is leaving for stress, I have it, I'm going to dig into that. If my why is for leaving is because I want to change, I have to really understand what that means. And so you're going to actually take this journey and be able to analyze those things to begin to change the chip. So if you want to know more about Costa Rica, check out these 2 videos. And remember to tune in next week, because I will be dropping another video on part 2 of this 4-part series of changing the chip. All right, I will see you on the other side.